This is an interview with Mrs. Cleopatra Goree of the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's Oral History Project. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. We're presently at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Today is April 29th, 1998. Ms. Goree, I want to thank you. Yeah. No, throw it on. You can just let that hang down.
Okay. So this is already.
Right.
Okay.
You're already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know late at leisure, you have plenty of other things to do. Come sit and talk with me. But I just want to start by asking you a general question about your family. Your mother and father, were they originally from Birmingham?
No, my mother and father, both from South Alabama, I guess you would call it, Black Belt area.
Right. What county?
My mother was from Perry County, and my father was from Bullock County.
Okay. Did they meet here or did they meet there? And
They met here.
They met here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you were born here in
I was born in Birmingham.
Oh, Birmingham girl.
All the way.
All the way. What community did you grow up in?
I grew up in East Birmingham.
East Birmingham. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents, what was their education? What were their education levels? How much school?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't live with my father that long, but his education was very limited. In the time that I did know him,
Yes.
he worked for the L&N Railroad Company. My mother had perhaps maybe a fourth grade education.
In East Birmingham, what community was it in East Birmingham that you grew up in?
Well, East Birmingham included kind of the northeast, not quite northeast, but going northeast in the city limits, this industrial area between First Avenue North and Vanderbilt
Oh, okay.
Road.
Right.
You were stuck within, a black community stuck within an industrial area. Black wine, pipe shops, Stocker Valve, Fitting Company. And right in that area, you had a black community.
So your father worked railroad. Did your mother work outside?
My mother worked for white people, you call it domestic work, that's what you call it.
Right, right. In that area, did she work in that area?
No, you're going to Inglenook then. You're going up toward Terrence City.
Right.
Inglenook,
Right.
Terrence City, going in that direction. And the whites that live in that area, they were primarily employed at the L&N Railroad. They were employed there.
What school did you start first grade?
I started first grade at Shields Elementary School, but it didn't go any further than the third grade. Then we had an option of going to Kingston School or Thomas School. And I chose to have gone to Thomas School. So my elementary education would be third grade at two Shields. And then from fourth grade through eighth grade at Thomas.
What do you remember about Shield?
Typical classrooms that you read about now. 2 rooms, potbelly stove, sink in the back, 2 teachers on each side of the double tenor house, so to speak.
And how far did you live from Shields? In walking distance?
Walking distance, very definitely walking distance.
What kind of neighborhood? How would you describe your neighborhood?
The neighborhood would be described as one big family, typical of all the neighborhoods before World War II. You kind of look at it, Great Depression area, not an area, but an era.
Mhm.
And everything is by, transportation is by trolley, very few cars, one telephone serving, or maybe two at the most, serving 5 or 6 block area. Everybody goes to that particular home to use the telephone. Church, school, and home, all located within walking distance, so to speak.
So it's a pretty compact community there.
Compact, very compact.
And what about the occupations of people that live in the community? What was the range of occupations?
Most of the range of the occupation were industrial work.
Mm-hmm. Because you live right there in the industrial area.
The industrial area.
So most people would be working
Industrial plant
Right.
workers for the men.
Right.
The ladies didn't go into the plants until World War II.
Right.
And few professional people in between.
When you left Shield and went to Thomas, you still walked to school?
Walked to school. Everybody walked to school. Either from that area between 10th Avenue North and Vanderbilt, you either walked to Thomas School or you walked to Hudson School in Collegeville.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was walking to school.
Right. How was Thomas different from Shield?
Well, Shields being so small, you remember it's just first to third grade, so it's no
Right.
comparison. We were going to the big school then.
Right. What was the transition like in going from the smaller school to the big school? Did you say?
Oh, it was quite an experience. First of all, you got a long walk, and then you're walking down a railroad track, and all my field was a trestle that you had to cross
You had to
over.
cross the trestle every day.
Cross the trestle to get across, and I was always frightened.
Now, on that trestle, could you actually see the
You can
the
see
water?
You can see the water.
Yeah. I remember those.
You can see the water. And you had to be there at a certain time, regardless of the weather. Then, once you got to summer school, you had to stand in line until the bell rang. Everybody
Couldn't go
lined
inside.
No, everybody lined up to go to school when the bell rang. So you don't have any entering school until you're going in for class, and then you line up then. Regardless of the weather, that's the interesting thing. You look back now, cold, rain,
It didn't matter. You had to line up.
you're going to line up, and then you go to school.
I remember when I was in school, we lined up, and the bell rang when you were in school, and not before.
Not before.
Mhm. Well, after Thomas School, then where did you go to school?
Went to Oldham High School.
Alma.
Yes.
Now, Alma is quite a distance, so you couldn't walk to Alma.
Then walked to Oldham. You had a special that ran from maybe Kansas City to near Parker High School. We call it the special. But all kids going to Oldham got off downtown, so you would walk from downtown to Southside.
That's still a pretty big distance now. Did you walk, what, from 14th Street?
We walked from downtown to where Oldham is located today,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where about downtown?
19th Street.
19th Street?
19th
That's the heart of downtown. That's,
All of downtown.
and you walked that every day. I thought the special would take.
Oh, no.
Is that right?
No.
Well, tell me a little about that special. I've heard so many people talk about it. What was the special like?
It was, by the time I come along, it was just a straight streetcar, especially for the children.
Mm-hmm. Only school children.
Only school children rode it.
Mm-hmm. And this was the actual streetcar. This is
The actual streetcar,
before the buses.
before the buses, that's right. Actually, trolley car.
Okay.
Now, I understand earlier, before I was born, maybe they had a trailer that they would hook up to another trolley, I believe. I'm not sure. My aunts talked about it. But ours was actually a trolley, especially for
the children.
For the children.
So you got to sit in the front of the trolley.
Hey, you sat where you could and stood up the rest of the way. You're packed in there like sardines.
Yeah, yeah. But now, what was that transition like from Thomas School to Auburn?
It wasn't too hard. We were used to the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing you look forward to, you met a cross-section of children. Then you start meeting more
Right.
children from different elementary
communities.
schools, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in my area though. Now you're looking at, you're going toward what we call Hudson City, Collegeville. You're picking up those kids in Kingston.
Right.
And sometimes Kingston children would direct, especially coming out First Avenue, coming from the Avondale community.
Right.
But we're coming from toward Tarrant City direction, back down through East Birmingham. Then you got a lot of ghettos you picked up in between. Once you left the industrial area, going down towards the terminal station in that area, you had massive black communities.
That's right.
Yeah.
Birmingham at that time, of course, was strictly segregated.
Sure.
Did you ever encounter any difficulties that you remember as a child growing up in Birmingham, a black child growing up in Birmingham? In many cases, you know, we may have encountered something on the streetcars or downtown. Do you ever remember personally encountering any situations?
No, I only encountered, of course I didn't encounter because I wasn't going that direction, but going to Thomas School, if you didn't go down the tracks, you could walk around in another direction, going toward Grayson Lumber Company, paved street that led to First Avenue North. But if you went in that direction, you had to go through what we call Cracker Town. Mm-hmm. And that was company houses occupied by white workers, the people who worked at the cotton mills there, lived in these small houses. And the company furnished them homes. And so they were white cotton mill workers. We had to go through their community if you walked, if you did take the track and went around the other way. So there was always a rock battle between the children who went through Cracker Town and going back to East Birmingham. So most of us took the railroad that did not lead through.
So you attempt to avoid.
We avoided what we call Cracker Town.
Now, in the mills, there was only whites working those mills, right?
Some blacks worked in the mills, but they were not furnished their homes.
Right. Now, how you went to Auburn through what grade?
Auburn 9 through 10.
And then on to
Parker.
Parker. Now, Parker, of course, being the only school in the Birmingham system, must have been a huge school.
It was.
Did you look forward to going to Parker?
I guess that was the dream of all the children. Mm-hmm. Now, if you lived in the Tibbetsville area, you stayed at Auburn to the 11th grade if you wanted to.
Okay, so Auburn did go to the 11th grade.
11th grade, but those of us who didn't live on South Side, we could choose to leave and go to Parker after we finished the 10th grade. And of course you had the annex as a feeder also. You had 2 feeders going to Parker at the time. Auburn was a feeder school and Parker Annex was a feeder school.
Why did you go to Auburn rather than to the annex?
Well, I was zoned to Auburn. Thomas School's children were zoned to Auburn. So that's why I went to Auburn.
How would you describe Parker at the time that you were there?
Fascinating.
In what way?
First of all, I guess you look at it, it was a certain amount of pride that was instilled in all students there. The pride now that I guess it exists in most of black high schools during that time. We're talking about the 1940s.
How did they instill that pride into you?
I guess it's just by word of mouth, but certain things were expected. Teachers were role models, the term they use today, they were always well dressed, very articulate, very conscious of being teachers, saw it as a profession, kind of made you look up to them. The next thing I'm always appalled by the number of students that were in the classroom, each classroom. It would be as many as 40 children in a class.
Is that right? 40 in a class.
And we were all required to learn.
And all did learn.
Yes, and discipline was not the problem it is today. It always amazed me at the thousands of children you had at Parker at that time, because we had climaxed to every black community then, 11th through 12th grade by then. And we boasted being the largest black school in the United States, all of that. But the school sat right on the sidewalk, and never a kid was in front of the school. You never saw one student in front of.
No one hung out on the.
No one hung out on the front of the building. Everybody was on the inside, definitely inside. The only way you saw somebody on the front of that building, they were leaving the school, going home, or leaving. It was not a hangout place.
Right. Were you involved in the extracurricular activities?
Yes, I was. I enjoyed my high school career at Parker. I sang in the choir. I had to get to college before I realized I really couldn't sing. But I sang in the choir. And I always regret that I missed William Henry. He was in service. Mary Alice Stoneworth was in charge of the choir at the time. She was an excellent musician. She tried to make a second soprano out of me. I took typing, and I guess the highlight of my stay at Parker was when I was chosen to be in the dramatic club on Harlem Riot. And that was just like a dream come true, to have been chosen to be a part of the dramatic club. So I had a little choir, I had dramatic experience, and I had typing. Of course, my typing and choir was not extracurricular, it was counted as a course.
Right. And
I took choir and typing rather than to go to the required domestic work. You had to go to the laundry. I didn't like that idea. So tried to find a way out.
You had no brothers and sisters, right?
I'm an only child, no brothers and sisters.
So you were more or less paving your own way, and you didn't
That's true.
talk with people who had brothers and sisters that gone ahead.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one.
Yeah.
Always around a lot of children who were from large families, but I was the only one. No half brothers, no half sisters, no half nothing.
Yeah.
And amazingly, my husband was an only child too, so we both kind of.
Was he at Parker?
No, he was originally from Tuscaloosa,
Oh, I see.
Industrial High School, Tuscaloosa.
Oh, I see. What did you do after Parker?
After Parker, I went to Alabama State.
Why Alabama State?
Oh, that's the story of my life. I had all dreams. I had all my mother working, I remember that. This is war years. Just at the end of the war, because I'm talking about 45, and World War II was over in May or June 45. So I'm looking real hard to try to get in somebody's college. I had written Tuskegee. They had a 5-year plan where you could work way at Tuskegee on a 5-year plan. And I said I was going to be a dietitian. That sounded like a big word, you know. I'm going to be a dietitian. I'm going to Tuskegee. dietitian, big word. But that was the first year that Alabama State offered us statewide scholarship testing to find out who was the best scholar in the state of Alabama. So President Trenum launched a testing program that tested every senior high school in Alabama. And all of the students who took the test, if they scored high, they had scholarships, and they could go to Alabama State.
Full scholarship?
Full scholarships, part scholarships, depending on your rank.
Right.
So when they came to Parker, they chose the seniors in the top 10 bracket among the graduating class. And I was chosen, and I always remember the math teacher tried to keep me out. He said I wasn't smart enough, my grades were not good enough in geometry, so I shouldn't be qualified to take the test.
Oh, is that right? So he tried to keep you from taking the test?
Yes, he said on the testing. And auto-wired, and I'm saying this because most people in Birmingham know the teachers auto-wired, and Dessa Harris-Ray insist on my being there. And it's through my history teacher and my English teacher that I got a chance to take the statewide test. And I scored high enough to get a scholarship to Alabama State. And all my dreams to Tuskegee went to the wind then because I had a scholarship.
And you were probably very excited about that.
I was.
How many from your high school went to Alabama State at that time on the scholarship?
On that scholarship program. I can't remember offhand.
But that was several.
The smaller children in that upper 10 didn't let them choose Alabama State because most of them were from professional families. They went on to Tuskegee and Talladega, Morehouse, private colleges. So we had, I can't remember offhand, who
How many went to that time, right?
I can't think of anybody who really, maybe one girl. I can think of myself in that testing program.
Right. So that test then was not necessarily administered by Alabama State.
Yes.
It was by Alabama State.
It was administered by Alabama State people.
Oh, okay. So,
They came up and on certain Saturdays they would be.
right.
And out of that class came the smartest student in the state of Alabama.
Out of
My class,
Is that right?
yes.
You remember that?
Yes, that person passed last year. Noah Wills Jr., he might have heard the name.
No real Jr.
He became a medical doctor. His father was principal here in the city. And he made the highest score throughout the state of Alabama. It became a competitive thing, and later on we always accused Rosedale, started having Rosedale High School under Mr. Oliver, E.J. Oliver, started having the highest number of students scoring on the test after that.
Rosedale or Fairfield?
Fairfield, I'm sorry. Yeah, Fairfield. Fairfield started walking away.
Is that right?
Walking away. Every time we get ready for a test, Fairfield had and gone. So we started saying, E.J. Oliver had the test. It was amazing.
Yes, yes. What was that transition like then from high school to college?
Was
this your first?
The first time away from home, and they're different. Had to adjust the dormitory life, and very strict at that time to get lights out on campus and all of that. So I took it in the stride because I really wanted to go to college. So I didn't have a hard time with adjusting. I was fortunate enough to get a job, work scholarship in the high school office because I had worked in high school offices previously. so they just placed me in high school box.
And what was your major?
Oh, I came up with a double major, I guess. I need to look at the transcript sometime. I don't know whether I have more hours in history or English, but I was a history, English major, secondary education.
Well, did you enjoy that time at Alabama State?
It was a learning experience, and I came out very excited, very confident. I felt like we had one of the best curriculums that any college could have offered. I always admired my president. Trump was a brilliant man. He worked night hours, 12, 1 o'clock, you could see President Fred's office lights burning. But he was the lover of academics. And I always feel so grateful to him, especially for the course that was required of freshmen. We took what was called a biosocial class and an integrated arts class required of all freshmen. You had 18 hours and 21 hours of one and 18 hours of the other. And it was kind of like a survey of all of the science and a survey of all of the arts. And of course,
and all that was required.
That was required. And it most certainly exposed you at an early age to the various facets of education. And even today, I fall back on some of the knowledge required from those classes. So I came out of Alabama State fairly, a little bit cocky, you know.
Mm-hmm. It was known for was music as well.
Music and teaching, you know, a lot of teachers. It was a teacher college at first. I didn't pursue the music. I told you I found out I couldn't sing. I didn't go to Dr. Hall. You had to go to choir rehearsal. It was too strenuous anyway. It took a lot of time for choir rehearsals. Of course, I was not band inclined. But the music department was good, and especially with Dr. Hall and Jessica Dallas Hayden and all those names.
She was at
Yeah.
State? Is that right?
She was there. One of the persons.
She, of course, very well known around the city.
Yes, she was there.
So after State, did you come back home?
Came back home, started looking for a job.
Did you find one immediately?
No, I had to go to a small town where one of my good friends lived. In fact, I just didn't wait long. The first come, first served. Remember, I was a poor girl looking for a job in a hurry. So I talked to you about town.
Where?
Fayette, Alabama.
This was probably just before the Brown versus Board of Education decision.
Yes.
And then you came back here. Where did you teach first in
Walden High School.
Oh, you taught at Alden.
Yes.
What was that like, man? That's your alma mater.
Oh,
You're going back.
It was like heaven because I knew Dr. Bell so well. See, I had worked in his office as a student. Then when I was in college, I had classes under him. He was a marvelous teacher. He taught me geography, and I learned so much, not only geographically, he was very philosophical. So many things I learned just off the wall.
So he taught at Alabama State?
He taught at Alabama State summer classes.
So in your return here to teach at Ullman, had that been a dream of yours to come back and be able to
I was just glad. I was just so glad. I was happy. I really was.
Yeah.
Especially to be at Ullman with Dr. Bell, because he had been my principal. And I felt like I just knew him, you know, as a high school student.
So were you there at Ullman then when, in '54 when Brown versus Board took place?
Yes, I was.
Did that have any impact upon what was taking place at Ullman? Were there any discussions about what that meant to education, black education in Birmingham?
It really didn't hit home too hard. Not, we talked about it, we read about it, maybe had news articles on it, but it didn't have any definite impact. We didn't foresee the coming. And yet, I think once Arthur Newsom went to Alabama, that brought it closer.
Right.
And became kind of a fascinating subject then.
Were you a voter at that time?
I was a voter.
Do you remember when you took your voting test?
Yes, I do.
What was that like?
I didn't go through all of the silly questions that some of the people were asked. It was strictly constitutional questions. And of course, the most interesting thing about it is Dr. Patton always managed to get the exam. And he had on Xerox and just studied and studied. And after I became a registered voter, then I conducted voter registration classes where we taught other people how to vote.
Were you a member of the NAACP?
I was a member of the NAACP. Sure was.
In '56, when the organization was outlawed from operating in the state.
I was not as active, but I was, card-carrying member.
Right. And I'm sure there were many teachers who were card-carrying members.
That's
My aunt was a card-carrying member. But she didn't really attend any meetings, but she paid her dues every year. And was supportive in that way. But it was rather dangerous to be a member of the NAACP in terms of I guess the powers that be, knowing that was that true or not?
No. I never felt the threat of the danger, even at Alabama State, because I was surrounded by persons who were especially some of my professors that were ardent members of the NAACP.
Well, after it was outlawed from operating in the state, and the Alabama Christian movement was organized, were you at all involved with that phase of the movement? I know you would be involved later on, but in those initial days when...
No, was not involved, not a member. As you know, the Alabama Christian movement was almost church-based.
Right.
It grew out of the ministers, young ministers, a few old ministers.
Right.
And my minister was not a part of it. And so, being a follower of him, or read more or less by his church philosophy, if you want to call it that, I didn't join. I didn't become a part of it.
Were you still living in the same neighborhood?
Living in East Birmingham. But the impact was so great from the Alabama Christian movement that people started setting up smaller groups. Now in East Birmingham, under Dr. Patton and some more of the ministers, that's where we started this voting clinic. We called it a civic league.
Right.
And we became very civic-minded because of the impact of the Christian movement.
Okay.
So since we were not in that big circle of that mainstream, we had our own little civic league out there.
How did the civic leagues operate?
It operated primarily for improving the community, if necessary. But we were basically interested in getting people to vote. Okay. And we held voting clinics every Wednesday night throughout the neighborhood. And we found those people, and that was an experience because I was never aware, maybe I should say I had no awareness of how many people that I had grown up under that could not read and write. And these were the people that were pretty much neighborhood role models, right. Homeowners. nice dresses and money-paying people in the church and all this.
But they
But
could not read
They
and write.
couldn't read and write, and I was astounded because I was not aware of the limitations.
All right.
But they would come, and then also those who were interested, the older people, we sat down and went over just like you would with a child. And we got them ready for all of the tricky questions. And that question was about how old is your oldest child? And you would answer, and then, especially for the men or the ladies, and then they would ask you, when did you marry? And you would tell them when you married. If that child was born out of wedlock, they would not qualify you. Oh,
That would actually disqualify you.
that would disqualify you. That's, so we had to keep pounding that in the heads of those persons going down. And the highlight of that civic league in East Birmingham was Rosa Parks spoke, and I introduced her.
Oh, is that right?
We had a church field, all outside. She was the lady of the hour, and the church couldn't hold the people.
Good church.
That was St. Luke A.M. Zion Church in East Birmingham. That's where we had our anniversary program. We invited Rosa Parks as a guest speaker, and she came.
Is that right? Did Martin Luther King come to your church?
No, he never came to that.
days?
No, he never came to my church.
But you heard him speak.
New Pilgrim Baptist Church. I think it might be in that introduction I gave Lola.
Right.
I heard him speak the first time he came to Birmingham. That was 55, right after the bus boycott at 16th Street Baptist Church.
Okay.
The rest of the times I heard him mass meetings. That's wherever he was. 2 times he spoke for Men Day at New Pilgrim Baptist Church. That was a special occasion. I heard him there. Many times in the mass meetings, because I went to all the mass meetings. The last time he spoke was at the City Auditorium, and that was when he was had declared war on, not war, but had spoke out against the Vietnam involvement.
That's the
That was his last speech.
67, yeah.
Last speech he made in Birmingham. He was devouring to tell the federal government that they were wrong, you know.
So it sounds as if every time King was in town, you were there.
Never missed the opportunity, never missed it.
Is that right?
Never missed it.
What kind of feel that you have as you listen to one of the Kings?
I was drawn to him, I guess, just psychologically or automatically drawn to him because of his charisma, then the depths of his speeches. And I was always fascinated by him, and still is whenever I hear him or read his work. You cannot argue with him. You find it very hard to debate with him. You've got to be a real staunch philosopher to debate the philosophers of Dr. King. I'm always fascinated that he's one person that I just can't, and with my limited knowledge, I cannot critique him.
Right.
It's very difficult to disagree with him. The next thing, he was a very warm person. You know, I found that out twice. I had encountered to just really touch him, so to speak. We were at the Smith and Gaston's lounge. And that's when all the children were in jail. And he came and all of us were down there, you know. I would leave Alma High School, headed for the movie meeting. I would never go home. It was understood where I was on my way to the movie meeting.
Every day.
Every day, as long as by the mass meeting was, I was going. So we were down in the lounge, sitting down and having not alcohol, but coffee, cokes, sandwiches, you know. And the lounge was just like this with people. And all of a sudden, he came through. And I've never seen people just run up and pull on a person. Dr. King, my daughter did. Dr. King, my son, Dr. King. And he was just as nice, just as warm. He didn't pull away. He didn't seem fretted. You know, he told me, yes, ma'am, I understand. We were working on that. No frustration. And then a friend of mine knew him personally, so she said, Goree, come on, let's make the pictures. I said, no, give me the video. So I videoed the girls with them, you know, we weren't girls, but the young ladies with them. I videoed them while they were standing up there with Dr.
You mean you took motion pictures?
Yes.
Is that right?
Sure did. And,
do you have any of those?
I guess Doris still had. But she, you know, I hit the video camera. She said, come on. I said, oh, I'm just too excited. Mm-hmm. And then that last night when he was at the auditorium, that was the last time I saw him. She went up to I was always with 2 or 3 same people. And she went up to the car to speak to him. And he said, hey, girl, where your pastor? She said, I don't know, I thought he was here. And by that time, she was shorter than I was. I just reached all over her big, tall, and reached in there and shook his hand, you know. And I teased her about it. I said, girl, I almost knocked you in that car trying to shake Dr. King's hand. So I shook his hand. Then when he was at 6th Avenue, one night he was autographing his books, and I bought a book and he autographed it. So I never missed an opportunity to wear Dr. King. I have 2 regrets. I didn't go to Selma, and I didn't go to March in Washington. That's 2 regrets I have now. I wish I had been a part of it.
You attended the mass meetings on a regular basis.
Regular basis.
How would you describe a mass meeting?
I think it's one of those phases in history that you read about, but you can't believe it until you encounter it. First of all fear is gone. I've never felt where death never. If we had died in a church, I don't think I would have cared. If the bomb had gone off, you're just that happy and you're just that elated. So it's not often you get that kind of feeling where you step over a police foot if it's in the way, you know, or you know the church is being guarded, or you know people are out there. You just don't care. So I think the removal of fear is something that I had not experienced, and I doubt if I ever had that kind of emotional feeling again. Another thing that amazes me about the movement now, you know, retrospectively, that it was something down for everybody. You would go in and first thing in the afternoon, and if you hadn't eaten in the basement of the church or the annex where it was, you had fish frying, you had hot dogs, and you had hamburgers with smelling going up your nose. So that's that atmosphere right there. Then after that, you go upstairs for your meeting, and you had an old-fashioned prayer meeting. So for all of us who love old-fashioned prayer meetings, where folks actually say your prayers, you know, the Baptist hymns and the long meeting hymns, you had prayer meeting. And after that, so that satisfied that element. After that, you had the Alabama Christian Movement Choir taking the stand. So if you're a person who likes gospel, you got gospel at its best.
That's the place to be.
That's the place to be. Collection time, you've got Gardner, Reverend Gardner, who was a comedian by nature. And so when he got ready to take up collection, it was almost like having Eddie Murphy. He would just keep you laughing, always some kind of joke. And he take up collection, so it's always something, especially the joke on the white folks. And so you just tickle, you know. after that, nothing is never the same. Each personality comes. Reverend Abernathy would take the podium, the podium. Tell this little hickey, point to the microphone. All them tea sippers, talking about people who got along with white people, he called them tea sippers. And he would come along and tell them I bathe with white ivory soap and I don't stink and all that. Well, you know, that kind of down home spawn talk really got the people involved.
Right.
And finally, when Dr. King came out, you already happy, and then it's like putting the icing on the cake, because he comes in with all the intellectual, all of the, you know, not only intellectual, but the charisma he had and the power to speak. By that time,
He put it all together.
yeah, he put it all together, satisfied every one of us, because the folks know how to go ahead, doc, you know, say it, doc, you know. But you just had such a variety. And you leave out singing "We Shall Overcome." It was almost maybe I should say a spiritual explosion or spiritual high, and that kept people coming. As many as 3 churches were filled with people, especially during the time the kids were in jail.
Now, I've interviewed, many people, and I found that many of the teachers, the professional people, were really not involved because they were afraid to lose their jobs. You were a teacher. Why were you involved at the level that you were?
I felt that after 3 o'clock, my time was down. I had no fear of a job after 3 o'clock. Some were even bolder. The younger people are, the less fear they have. Some people walked off the job, but they had to be younger people.
Or some did walk off the job?
Some, especially in my government, you had that type of young people that walk off. And then you had a few teachers who went to jail. Or at least I know one who went to jail. That was Katie Jefferson. I don't know whether y'all got her before she passed. And Katie went to jail.
Were you involved in any demonstrations?
One. And that was that Easter Sunday. They marched out of what did you say? St. Paul. I marched.
What was that like? I mean, that was a big demonstration.
That was a big demonstration. Well, there were so many people till you just felt hypocritical if you just didn't get out there and walk with them.
Were you arrested?
No, I wasn't arrested. Sure was.
What did it feel like being, after the speeches and all, and then you hit the pavement? What was that experience like?
I think it showed you the power of the movement. You just didn't care. You just read it, whatever. And I can see why the young people went, really. It's just something, it was motivational.
Now, many of the students would leave school or they wouldn't come to school, come right down to this part of the downtown and demonstrate. You as a teacher, did you attempt to discourage them from being involved? Did you encourage them to get involved? Were you neutral?
Neutral. But I always wanted to know what happened. Never blocked anybody at my door. Because I had a lot of respect for George Bailey at the time. But I never stood in anybody's way. And I didn't want them to go back and say, Ms. Goree told me to go. So I was neutral. I didn't say don't go. And I never held my hand across the door. I never threatened anybody with a grave.
Did any of your students ever leave from your?
Empty the classroom, emptied the classroom, and came back telling me the news. We hugged and,
So, in effect, you were really aiding and abetting.
yeah, I was that confident lady. I think come to Lord, let me tell you, we hugged and we talked and close that door. No class today. We're going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
What happened last time? What happened? But never stood or blocked the door. Never jeopardized the point that I say go. Because I didn't want to get to the principal. That I encouraged them to leave, but they needed no encouragement.
Right.
Because they just walked out.
Well, as a result of your involvement, your participation in the mass meetings, were there ever any threats toward you as far as your job is concerned?
No threats. No threats at all.
Then did many people who were teachers simply assume that there would have been some retaliation if they had gotten involved, or were there actual retaliations for some of the teachers?
I think retaliation is just a word they used. I think they left it to those people. You know how we separate ourselves.
That's it. Okay.
I can't believe they feared their jobs to that extent. Deep within, I just feel like they felt they were just, especially when I'm playing bridge or if I'm in a sorority meeting or if I met Alderman the next day talking about it. You know, it was almost a turn up your nose sort of attitude. But yeah, I'll go ahead on.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So people were making determinations based upon.
You people, yeah. You know, that belongs to the other people. That's not for us.
So then was it a class thing?
Kind of a class thing. Even their children, for their children, you know. It's a class thing. I think that word, when people tell you I was frightened about my job, I think it really was class. I always felt it was sort of a class thing.
That's very interesting. And I've heard that before.
You hide behind the word retaliation, but no.
It was a decision that you made.
The decision you made, and they just didn't see the effort. I mean, didn't see the purpose.
The night that 80 Kings home was bombed first, and then the Agent Gaston Motel was bombed. Do you remember that?
Very well. Jumped in the car and came down. Oh yes. Wouldn't missed it for nothing.
So what did you see when you came down?
Well, first of all, it was mass confusion, especially for the blacks. And then eventually you had burnings, fires started.
Right.
When we got in the motel, it was just jam-packed and James Blake, I think his first name was James Blake. Blake was up on the table trying to quiet people down. He was a security guard and he could wear a uniform, so he kind of represented the police vision for us. Not a policeman, but just a security guard. He had on his security uniform and he was trying to quiet the people down, but especially light-skinned people, and we laughed about that. Some light-skinned people came through, they had to holler out, I'm a Negro, because they were getting, they thought everybody looked white.
Right.
They were going to get it, but it was policemen everywhere. And the tank was rolling, what kind of tank was rolling, and it was just chaos. It really was.
Was your husband involved?
My husband never was involved. He always left it to me. He said, well, it wasn't in need of both of us being crazy.
Why did you not attend the March on Washington?
I really didn't have, I don't know, I don't think I had, my associates, the girls that I would be with, they didn't particularly want to go, and then I don't know because I had an idea about transportation to fly or try to catch a bus. I didn't get in with who was leaving Birmingham to go. I got lost in that part of the movement. That's why I didn't go.
Well, just a month after that, in fact, less than a month after that, 16th Street Baptist Bar. Where we do that Sunday morning.
I was at my church in East Birmingham. And, of course, you know, I lived next door to one of the girls that was killed.
Which girl?
Cynthia Wesley was my next door neighbor.
When did you find out that she had been killed?
Well, my husband came and got me. He heard the news. He came to church and told me to come home. Cynthia had been killed.
Well, this is while you were actually in church. You heard.
Yeah. He came. He had just let off from Sunday school, getting ready for our 11 o'clock services.
How did that impact your community?
Well, everybody was saddened by it. And shocked. I would say. But if you would notice, even in the community where you live today, you don't have that community cohesiveness that you had growing up. How many people on your street that you really know personally?
It's a difference.
It's a difference. But everybody knew Cynthia. It brought the neighbors together. They came in and out of the Westley's home. But then they had their friends, Mrs. Wesley and St. John, Mr. Wesley was at 16th Street. So it was just a busy time. I would go in and out and offer my assistance, anything I could do. And I was really,
Did you attend the funeral?
I attended the funeral. It was at 6th Avenue South, Reverend Porter, pastor then. So I attended that funeral. Of course, you know, Dr. King spoke, so I remember I was standing in the window. She was right. We experienced quite a bit living there on the hill because every time the Shores home bombed,
That's right. Yes.
they would come to my community. I'm not far from the Shores home.
Right. You are right on top of that right here.
Yeah. And the police would come and tell us to go back in the house, so I did have that. Holler at you like you want to get back in that house. Shoot through the shrubberies or what have you on my street. Shot on through the shrubberies.
Was that right?
Tell me to get back in the house. And shooting and people with, you know, hit the shrubberies on like hedges.
Right.
Shot on through. We were standing out on the porch and all of us back in the house. Wasn't even down there at Shores, I'm just standing on our porch.
How many of them? Was it many policemen? Or just a car?
Just maybe
Regular.
regular 2 cars. Yeah.
So you didn't look at the Birmingham Police Department as being there in the community to protect and serve?
No protection, no. No, not at all. I never felt they were there to protect. Sure didn't.
Well, you covered an awful lot of territory. Is there anything else that you would like to include before we conclude?
Well, lest we forget that too much credit cannot be given to Fred Shuttlesworth because his house was leveled. I did go to see that funding. That he paved the way before Dr. King got here. And with those kids who integrated riding that bus before Dr. King came, I knew all about those who dared to knew the kids by name We worked with Fred and Robert Pfeiffer and all that from Southside. So maybe I should describe myself as one who followed the fall, but have no regrets. It's an experience I wouldn't take anything for. It's it's different than secondary reading, secondary experience and primary experience. So, and first-hand experience of being there is something that you really can't explain. And I just hope somehow people who were involved in Birmingham especially should have written the book, because they were right in the middle of it. And it was a price to pay. But the price that was paid, I know why it was paid, because there was no fear. It was such a conviction that people just were willing to die for it. You look at it now and you feel sorry, but it was such a strong conviction. Only thing I would like to close is, where do we stand now,
Where do we stand?
You think we made progress, and you can turn it off now, and you're not just talking, but whether we really appreciate, I don't think, that was one thing about Dr. King, he did not advocate divisions. It didn't make any difference whether you marched or not if you had something to offer. And I think that's where we should be now. It's not the person who got out and walked in the street. You played your part.
Everybody had a role.
Had a role to play. And only thing I'm saying, those persons who are now serving should have the same type of commitment to do a good job.
No. I want to thank you for taking your time.
Okay.
You've been very helpful. And
just it's bubbling over when I think about it.
and I can tell.
Oh, just bubbling over.